From every strand on the line of your reel, to the rods, to the anglers, to the lures on the end of your hook, let's talk about those big bass here on Co-Angler's Corner with your hosts, Rob Welch and John Stoughtenger.
Hi, y'all. Are Cajun Rob here hanging out with you. I got a familiar guest with us tonight, Mr. John of JCX Fishing. How you are, Mr. John?
I'm doing well, thank you, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Folks at home, we're going to discuss he built rods for a long time and he's getting back into it. So we're going to go over some rod construction and kind of some tips and some guidelines. So if you got any rod questions on rod building or rod construction, this is the night for it. So, but anyway, everybody knows John. So John, kind of go over how'd you get into building rods and kind of what are you getting back into? I know you got some old rod blanks, some neat stuff. So kind of go through that real quick for us.
Yeah, sure. Well, how I got into it was years ago. I was fishing in a local club here, Barge Canal Bassmasters, and one of the guys was a custom rod builder. And so I'm like, hey, Jack, can you build me a rod? And he looked at me and he says, if you want a rod, build it your effing self. I'm like, all right. So he didn't mean it as brash as it sounded.
Right.
So basically what he was doing, he was mentoring me and wanted to mentor me into taking over his business.
Oh.
So, I mean, he wasn't that old. He was like in his 70s, and that was, I don't know, back in early 2000s.
Right.
Or wait. I shouldn't say early 2000s, late 90s.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's how I got started. He said, come on down to the house. We'll pick out the components and go from there. And he helped me. And I'm like, all right. We picked everything out. And I spent, a couple weeks at his house, a couple hours a night after work building it. And he goes, you ready to build another one? I'm like, sure.
Nice.
So I started building for him and building for myself and selling some to the club guys, and there we go.
That's nice. That's old school, man. The old school mentorship, man. That's old school right there.
Yeah, it was great because he was a retired sergeant major of the Army, and so we spoke a lot about the military and some of his stories, and he was in World War II and
oh wow,
Korea, and so yeah, some of the stories he would tell me, and it was just incredible just listening to him. And while I'm trying to build a rod, it's like, man, like one of the things where I was wrapping a rod, and at that time I had to have a lot of concentration, and he was telling me how they were leaving Korea, and they were dumping millions of dollars worth of equipment into the ocean because it was cheaper to dump them in the ocean than bring it back.
Yep.
And it just stopped me. And I'm like, no wonder our taxes are so damn high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening. Look at Afghanistan, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah. Yep. That's another sandlot.
Yep.
But no, when I'm building a rod for somebody, there's certain things I ask them about. Main thing is length. Okay.
Yep.
What length do you want? Because, like for me, I learned how to use a 7 foot and above.
Yep.
For most of my techniques. So if I have a flipping stick and it's 7'11", that doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm a short guy, but that's how I learned. A lot of guys, my height, they use like a 6'10" to 7'4".
Yeah.
For flipping a jig or something. But that's the first thing I ask is, what length do you want?
Yeah.
And then we got to get into the material. What's he going to use it for? Is he going to use it for cranking, jigs, Texas rig, chatterbaits, moving baits? And so once I figure out what he's doing are using it for, I can pretty much figure things out from there.
Oh, got you.
One of the next things I try to figure out is line type. What line are they going to use? Because you could throw crankbaits, wake baits, chatterbaits, spinner baits. You could throw anything on a braid.
Yep.
Okay. I would just make a softer tip.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because a moving bait, you don't want to pull the bait away from the hooks out of the fish.
Right.
You want them to be able to swallow it up a little bit. So like
Yeah,
I have
we
a
call
crankbait.
parabolic
Yep.
band. Yeah, I got you.
Yep. I have a spinnerbait / chatterbait rod that I use for braid, and it's like a medium light action.
Oh, cool.
Because of the braid.
Yeah, I'll say I noticed on fluorocarbon, I've get hung and you can feel it stretch. I mean, it's lower stretch than mono, but still you can feel some stretch. When you're trying to pop it or break it, and it's like, hey, that thing does have a little bit of stretch in it, so it does.
It does. And so that's it. That's the main things I want to know. But let me preface this by saying not every rod is for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Do what's comfortable for you.
Absolutely. I notice there's a trend toward the shorter butt sections now. Okay, it's basically being kayak. You got to have your life vest on, and even I know the old flipper and pitchers, they used to cut their rod butts down an inch or two because it kept getting into them, so they have it come down the arm like so much, and it just made it easier. So
yeah, one of the things I talk to people about is their butt section. Yep. Not their butts, but their butt section.
Yep.
I ask them to measure from the palm of their hand.
Yep.
To where they feel that they want the end of the rod to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because that'll give me an idea where to put the reel seat on the rod.
I got you.
If they're not around me, and I can't do all that stuff myself. But if they don't want to do that, I'll just put a general between 10 and 12 inches.
Yeah, 10 seems like a good medium, but I like 10. But you're almost like a tailor. You're a rod tailor.
There you go. That's it. And there are intricacies in building a custom rod that people don't know.
Yep.
Because most people, they don't pay attention to it. Hey, this is a nice rod. I like it. Good action. Let's go for it.
Yep.
But when you get a custom rod, it's just like buying a pair of custom trousers or shirt. Yep. It's fitted to you.
Yep.
Okay. I had a request the other day from someone wanting to inquire about a 1 to 3 ounce swim bait rod.
Wow.
Okay. Excuse me. Myself, I would have gone with a 7-11 8-foot blank.
Yeah.
Okay. They want 7.4 to 7.6.
Interesting.
But each and a short handle because he's fishing out of a kayak.
Oh.
Okay, which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So each rod and each individual is special.
Yeah, got different needs or different situation now. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the types of rods or you don't hear much about anymore is fiberglass.
Yep.
One of the reasons why is it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It used to be great for crankbaits. I mean, I still have 10 or 12 crankbait blanks, fiberglass blanks, or graphite. I mean.
Yep.
Now everybody's going either graphite or carbon fiber or the combo.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of people are using it for like their crankbaits, spinnerbaits, and chatterbaits. So.
Yeah, it seems like the composites has gotten real popular here last year. So.
Yeah. Yep. So how do you want to now that we got the general stuff out, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go by technique? Do you want to go by components?
Start with components, and let's. I got a quick comment here, and from our
Okay.
good friend, the legend himself, Ed Cowan. Great
Yep.
subject. Hey Ed, how
Yeah.
you doing, man? Hope you're doing well out there.
Hello, sir. He's built a couple rods in his day.
I'd say he's probably learned more about rod construction than me and you put together. But
Oh, I know. I used to belong to a rod building club called the Rod Crafters.
yeah, I remember that. Yep.
I have almost every issue of their publication, except for 5 of them.
Oh hey.
And I've gone to a couple shows and saw some incredible rod builders and different techniques and stuff like that. And people putting artistic stuff on them with feathers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's some amazing work out there. You're absolutely
I
right.
don't have the patience for that. I'm gonna flat out tell you. But
I heard that.
all right.
But let's go
So,
over. I always worry about guides. How do you kind of determine? Like I said, I know your line types determine a lot on your guides. What's some
Yep.
other factors on your guides, or what do you like to use on your guides as a guideline?
A lot of it depends. Honestly, depends on what the guy wants to spend.
Okay.
If he only wants to spend $20, I'm not going to put $30 worth of guides on.
Right. Right.
Tournament anglers usually want, especially if they're in the Opens or the Toyota series, they want the better guides on them.
Yeah.
You get to the older people like me, I don't really care if they have the micro guides on them because I want to be able to put line through them.
Yeah. It's a little hard. It's a hard. Wind's blowing and it's a dark day, and you're like, yeah. I get you.
No, and that's it. I mean, usually the more expensive the guide, the lighter they are.
Yeah.
A single foot guide for an expensive guide is probably about 4 times the price of a regular guide.
Oh wow.
I really don't. Honestly, I don't think there's that big of a difference in them.
Yeah.
I use all Fuji guides, quality components, and I switched my rod blank company to Batson.
Right.
They're out west, and they've got good prices, good rods, good blanks. But my reel seats are usually Fuji reel seats because they're top of the line. Guides are Fuji. I have some bunch of cork that I turn down for handles if I need to.
There you go.
Some of the cork is probably 30 to 40 years old.
Oh wow.
Grade AA from Honduras, or top shelf. I have some old pistol grips. I'm in the process of completing one of those for a buddy of mine.
Yeah, and I remember the cork. Remember Aaron Martin's back in the day? He would like sand down his cork and like lighten it up, and that was pretty cool. I mean, that was tricking it out way back in the day.
And I remember when my second rod I built without any cork on it.
Huh.
And my mentor, he told me that rod looked naked because it didn't have any cork on it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm like, well, it's a lot lighter.
Yeah, that's plus.
And he goes, nobody will ever buy one like that. Well, now,
yeah,
hardly any cork, especially in the foregrip section.
Yeah,
for tournament anglers, but
yeah, very very rarely.
Yeah.
And got a quick question from Mr. Ed Cowan. It says, what supplier do you use?
I use a couple of them. I use Mudhole for some stuff. I use Batson for the blanks. I use Get Bit Outdoors for stuff. They're the three main suppliers that I use.
Okay.
Mudhole, they have good blanks with the MHX blanks. But a lot of people on the East Coast are building with them, and I just wanted something a little different.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you gotta stand out a little bit.
Yeah, and there's not too many people on the East Coast building them with those blanks.
Yep.
And I think they're a really nice quality blank. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. And now I've heard this. I want you to confirm or deny this, as they say, on rod blanks. Now you're spinning and you're casting. Is that the same blank or is it a different blank?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah. Depending on what you want, because a spinning blank really has a more of a parabolic bend.
Okay.
Than a casting rod. So, like for me, my drop shot rod, I build on a casting blank.
Okay.
All right, because I don't want a big parabolic bend. Because I'm not really setting the hook much. It's more of a pop.
You're just pulling.
And I don't want, and I want more of a faster tip for that, for just the pop, because with a moderate to moderate weight action, you're not going to get the hook in the fish.
Yeah.
So with me, that's what I'm looking for that. Any moving bank, sorry. A lot of the moving baits, they'll have like SJ blanks. Okay.
Yep.
Spinning and jerk rod.
Yeah.
They'll have a longer parabolic bend to them.
Okay, I got you.
And yeah, that's that. I mean, I build. You can build anything on any of them.
Right.
So it's not just one blank fits all.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Greg Hackney was saying one time that the pros use longer rods because if he's like throwing a buzz bait, fishing a buzz bait, and he's like distracted looking at a squirrel or something, said the rod's so good, he'll usually get the fish in even, he ain't paying attention and he's distracted. On a longer rod, it's easier to get them in and better hook set. So a lot of pros go with the 7.6 and the longer ones.
Yeah, longer rods gives you more momentum, more leverage.
Yeah, longer casting too. Absolutely.
Yeah, it just depends on the technique you're getting them for.
Yep.
One of the favorite rods I built a while back was my first drop shot rod. It was a 7'8" inch, and I let a guy borrow it, and I've yet to see it back. And this was back in the mid '90s.
Oh wow!
I mean, early 2000s.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yep. And Ed, he's going old school on us. Ed says, I like to use a Tennessee handle and a ultralight spinning rod. Yeah, I remember the Tennessee handles. Those were pretty good. Bring out the old electric tape and tape them up.
Yeah. I still have a couple of the graphite tubings for Tennessee handles.
Cool.
When before my mentor passed away, I ended up getting his stuff, buying him out and getting a lot of his stuff. And, I told you I got blanks from the mid '90s, G. Loomis blanks, and got a couple Lamiglass blanks. I was all looking for a blank for you the other day, and, old blanks. But no, let's see, I've got bunch of fly rod reel seats.
Yep.
You don't see that much in tournament fishing because of limited of the rod length.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it as far as that.
Okay. But yeah, I know in Tennessee, talking about the Tennessee handle. I know guys down there like a longer rod, like a spinning rod, like 7.6 to 8 foot, and like that Tennessee handle, use it for like jerk baiting, like a long time ago, did because they get it so further out and get it. Yeah, that's still pretty prevalent down there.
Yeah, a lot of brim fishing as well.
Oh, oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But now when a guy, I know when a guy wants you to build a rod, I mean, what's usually the first thing they tell you the length for the action? What's usually the first recommendation, I guess, for a customer? It tells you the length for the action.
Length is usually what, I try to find out the length and the usage first.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay. It's just like everything in fishing. Well, I like, you may not.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people want a bigger parabolic bend for a jig rod. I don't. I want a broomstick.
Yeah.
And we can figure that out as the process goes on, and finding out what he's looking for, what he wants. But yeah, there's a rod building technique called the Roberts wrap.
Okay.
Okay. For those of you guys don't know how blanks are built, they're built with a mandrel and graphite, fiberglass, e-glass, whatever, rolled around it. Okay. Then it's put into an oven and burnt or baked on, and then cooled off. Then they pull the mandrel out. And so if you're rolling something, there's always a starting point and an ending point.
Right.
All right. So if you get a custom rod builder who knows what he's doing, he'll find what they call the spline. That's where the strong part of the rod is.
Right.
Okay. When you get that, you can determine where the guides are going to be. So the first thing you do is to determine the spline. You find that, okay, casting or spinning. Casting is going to be on top. Spinning is going to be at the bottom. So with the Roberts wrap, it helps with the casting and the sensitivity of it, because the guides don't go straight across the top on a casting.
Right.
They come out and then they go down and underneath like a spinning rod.
Yep.
So what that does is it helps with gives you a longer cast, because you're using that bend with the rod or with the blank, the rolling it. You're using that as leverage as well.
Yeah, and the tip, usually if you got your tip down, the line kind of goes under it. And I know Caskeen's got the Spirale series, so anybody wants to look at the Caskeen Spirale, that's made like that.
Yep. And but no, a lot of companies stay away from that because aesthetically people don't like it.
Yep.
I had boaters look at me and like look at my rod and trying to figure out what I'm doing, because I have a casting rod on what they look, or casting reel looking thing on a spinning rod, because the guides are underneath. So.
Or they think you got a 2-piece rod and you got the second piece like that backwards. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does, but it's nice.
Yeah, I imagine. I've been wanting to try. We got some samples at work. I've been wanting to take out and try, but it looks like it's a neat concept. I mean, it's been around, and
it makes the rod stronger and lasts longer as well.
Yep. And Ed says my buddy Wayne builds them like that. Hey Ed, I bet that's a good rod. I bet it handles fish and casts well. Absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, he's talking about a former New York State Bass Federation president. Last name might be Tomasi.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken. Wayne and I have had several conversations talking about it. He asked me about stuff, and I'm asking him about different things. And
cool.
So, yeah.
Seems like the rod building community is kind of almost a tight knit. I mean, seems like they're all in competition, but they get together and talk rods and building and stuff. So I think that's pretty cool.
It is. It's just like bait building. They're not going to give you their recipe, but they'll explain how to do it.
Yeah.
Except for the rod building community is a little more free about that.
Yeah.
It's gotten over the years because when I first started, a lot of hush hush was going on because because I want to do this one technique, and then everybody will come to me for it. But it's gotten better over the years. Social media has helped with that.
Oh yeah. And I'd say is like baits. I know baits like certain sections of the country, regions, like Tennessee's crankbait, balsa baits, is certain areas of the country more known for certain rods. Like one might be like graphite heavy rods, another might be graphite finesse.
I would say not necessarily that, but casting and spinning.
Okay.
Okay. Up north, heavy spinning rods, rods.
Yeah.
Down south, heavy casting, heavy,
flipping and pitching, and yep.
You go out west and they want the longer butt handles. I can't figure out why, because if a rod goes past my elbow, it bugs me.
It's like with a surf casting rod,
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Yeah.
Yep. Heard that. But there's Ed. Ed says, "Yep, that's him. He does a lot of fancy wraps and handles. I'm very minimalist with my builds." That makes sense. It makes sense.
Yep.
Keep your weight down.
I'm the same way, Ed. I will do fancy wraps and stuff like that, but they're gonna pay for them because I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a couple samples for you.
Yeah, you're good, man. But yeah, I mean, you're good, man. And it's amazing how many different rod companies are out there now, and seems like the rod quality is really, I know since the 80s and 90s, the rod qualities across the board, even with the major manufacturers, has really made a big jump. And it seems like you rarely see the two-piece rods like you used to. It seemed like we had more two-piece rods back in the day than we do now.
All right. I don't know what I did with my fancy diamond wraps and all that stuff.
That's fine, man.
Here's like, this is a EVA foam.
Yep.
Okay, you see that on some of the ones that are
nice.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces of EVA foam.
Nice.
Here's a handle you don't see very often. It's trying to.
Huh.
Okay.
Yep.
It's supposed to fit your hand a little better.
Okay, yeah, where it curves, yeah, makes sense.
And the old Tennessee handle.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But yeah, they're, if you want to take the time, you can spend days on doing a different weave.
Oh yeah.
Special weaves. I've seen guys. I went to a show, and he said it took him 27 hours for a dragon. He put on a tuna rod.
Huh.
And I'm like, man, I could just see that snapping on me.
Yeah, did what?
Yeah, I mean, this was back in early 2000s, and I think he said he charged the guy like $1,500 just for the wrap.
Yep.
But time is money.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want quality and design. I mean, no. Ed has a question for you. Ed says, I was wondering if John built any fly rods, 4 pieces or common. I've built a couple 2 pieces and wouldn't know how to spline a 4-piece rod.
All right. And it's the same way as a 2-piece. You spline each one individually. You mark it, and then you can, when you put them together, you make the splines line up.
Okay,
So
makes sense.
and
Makes sense.
you really don't have to spline the one where the handle's going to be, because there's not a lot of movement on that section.
Right.
I try to, but I don't kill myself over it if I don't get that.
I say because it's all supported. I mean, it's all wrapped and supported. So
Yeah, it's basically your leverage point. So
I got you. Now on do you like putting on the hook keepers, or I know some guys do, some don't.
it depends. That's a customer preference.
Okay.
I everything I tell, I go custom all the way. The type of reel seat they want. Do they want cork on it? Do they want EVA? Do they want foam? Do they want metal reel seat?
Yep.
Like with me, my spinning rods, I use a fly rod reel seat.
Okay.
They're smaller.
Yep.
And of course, if I'm going to do that for somebody, I need the reel.
Yeah.
Or at least know what reel, so I can make sure the reel seat's going to fit the rod.
Oh yeah.
The reel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yep.
But yeah. I noticed I got some set of rods now. I used to, my old set would be like, it'd be below the rod, and being in a kayak, that's the worst place. Now I got some that's above the reel, which I really like. And
yeah. And there's different types. There's you got the ones that are
yep.
like a horseshoe.
Yep.
Then you got the ones that are like that. I mean, there's different types, and I've actually used micro guides depending on what the person wanted.
Makes sense.
So yeah, like everything is, to me, is comfort. If I'm going to build a rod for somebody, I want them to be comfortable fishing it all day.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to get into?
Let's see. Like I said, you was talking about the different guides for braid versus like the fluorocarbon. Now, for braid, are you using like the ceramic inserts, or how do you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I prefer the ceramic insert on all of them.
Yeah. Imagine you didn't, it'd wear a groove if you had stainless or something.
And years ago, I don't know, you probably remember the old Berkeley lightning rods.
Yep.
They had the stainless steel.
Yep.
And it was great for business, when braid first came out, because it'd wear a hole in them or wear a path in them.
Yep.
And people would have to have them replaced.
Oh yeah.
So that was good for back then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that brings up another question I was going to remember to ask. Like if you break off a guide or mess a guide up, how long usually does that take to repair a guide? And ballpark figure, somebody comes to you and wants just kind of a standard guide to put back on a rod, what are you looking at time and cost wise?
For me, it depends on the situation.
Okay.
You can actually get a guide. Um, if you're in the middle of a tournament, you can cut the guide off.
Yep.
If you have another one to replace it with, get some hot glue gun. Get a hot, the glue for a hot glue gun.
Yep.
Hot glue the foot on it, stick it to the rod, and then you can put tape over it.
Yeah.
As a temporary fix. And I've done that for guys in a tournament.
Okay.
But usually, if I have the guides in stock, you're talking a couple days because most of the time is the epoxy drying.
Yeah.
Most of it, and I like to let it cure for 2 days.
Okay.
So that I know it's good.
I got you. Makes sense. Now, I know more times than not, your end guide, the end part gets broke off or snaps off. Now, the kits, like the little quick kits, you have the little glue and you put it.
Yep.
Are those a permanent fix or are more
Yes.
temporary? Okay.
You can do them permanent.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good. That's what I use. I don't use super glue because if I have to take, if somebody, the ceramic comes out of it and you got to take it off, super glue is not the easiest to get out.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
So I prefer doing just the hot glue.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I think I think on some of the cheaper rods, I had one broke and I'd save it, and I'd mess up a guide on the other one, and I'd heat it up, get it all put on the other one, and it'd make it work. So
yeah, I used to go to Walmart when they used to at the end of the year when they put their rods on sale for $5.
yeah,
I just take them. I'd get 10 of them or so and strip the guides off them and use them because it was cheaper than me buying from my distributor.
Yeah, smart idea.
So, and one of the big questions I get asked is, can you repair a rod? You can repair anything.
Yep.
However, do you want to use it?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's in the upper third of the rod, I would say if it's a sentimental rod, you could fix it.
Yeah.
When I say upper third, I'm talking about from the tip to the third down.
Right.
Any further down from that, you can pretty much repair to use.
Okay.
Okay. It may be a little shorter, maybe an inch shorter than what it originally was, depending on where the break is and how it's broken. So.
Right. So
you can replace real piece.
Yeah. So if it's like above the reel handle, the guy steps on it or slams the door on it. So you cut it and then you section it and then put it back together. Is there you cut it at an angle, or how do you splice them together?
Depends on how the break is.
Okay.
Because I'm always going to try to cover the break with a thread.
Yep.
That just adds a little more strength to it.
Absolutely.
A guy came to me a couple of years ago asking about repairing his rod, and apparently it had been one that was repaired already because there was a piece of rod stuck in it already.
Oh heck!
So, yeah.
must have been a real unlucky guy.
Yeah. He was. I think he. This is before all the fancy electronics, and he was out one day fishing, and he ran upon a shoal and took his lower unit off, and unlucky guy.
Ooh. Ouch.
Ed might know a little bit about Oneida Lake and how it used to be. I mean, it's still a little dangerous too, but traveling without the electronics is a little more difficult than because the walleye guys sometimes will move the buoys.
Oh hey.
Buoys, so people can't follow the correct line up there. So
unreal. Yeah, I've seen guys on Cherokee, and Cherokee is not marked very well anyway. And I've seen some guys
Right.
like following the channel, like running from another launch point to get to where the tournament's at, and that's fine and good, except for the water's high. And it's not going to map out the logs. I mean, you could have a semi-submerged log and damage some stuff pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand why people do stuff like that, but it is what
Yeah,
it is.
you're rolling the dice, and the odds are against you.
Yeah. I just hope somebody who does it ends up getting hurt by it. Not physically hurt, but ruins
Yeah,
their boat.
yeah, yeah. Like I said, one tournament in Center Hill. Actually, my boater link, great guy. He had his co-anglers watching logs, and hey, go left, right, and they had one semi-submerged, and they missed it and hit it and threw the co-angler out. Luckily, he was okay, and messed his boat up pretty good. But yeah, it happened. I mean, I've seen them where it's semi-submerged. You see one little twig sticking up, and I actually had a boater hit one. Well, it was doing it on 20 or 30. It was coming out of a creek or river and hit one. And luckily, the only thing it did is it popped and cracked the throttle cable holder. I guess
Okay.
it held. And so we'd run a mile, and he'd have it taped up and wire tied. It'd come off, and you had to retie it. Like every mile, we had to stop. You had to redo it. But yeah, we made it in, though.
All right. Any other questions for you, boss?
Well, let's see. Now, on cork versus foam. I know foam's probably a little lighter. Is it easier to work with or put on the rod, or they're both about the same?
They're both about the same.
Okay.
I'm the old-fashioned guy, so I prefer the cork.
Yeah.
Newer guys are liking the foam, and then some of the guys are doing heat shrink tubing over the foam.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I've got a couple of new rods, and then it actually has cork, and then it has foam, and then it
Yep.
has like a little mix, but it has foam on the end, which I like. Kind of a mix
Yeah.
of the two.
Yep. Sorry about that. Eyelash
No,
in
you
my eye, I
good.
think.
Now, when they get wet, now is the foam like when you're fishing out in the rain? Is like the foam is a little better than the cork, or what's your thoughts on that?
Cork does get slippery.
Yep.
Foam, it doesn't get as slippery, but nowadays I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
It's all personal preference. I've noticed in the years with the bass fishing community, years ago when I first started fishing or building rods, people were more minimalist.
Yeah.
And now I see in the bass fishing community, people are starting to put more on it.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, I think the material has gotten a lot lighter and a little easier to work with. So I think the weight wise, it's gotten so much lighter that they could add stuff, and then you still, relatively light compared to the older rods.
Yeah, all the reels are lighter, the blanks are lighter, components are lighter. So you, a couple ounces of thread work doesn't really bother people.
Yep. And when you do the thread, now do you do like a epoxy and then thread it and epoxy back over it, or how you do it on those wraps?
I'll just go through the whole thing.
Okay.
First thing I do is I'll get a blank. I'll get some rubbing alcohol, clean the blank off to get dust particles off it.
Yep.
Then I'll take and I'll put the butt grip on, the rear grip, the handle. This is after I spline it. I'm sorry. I check for the spline.
Yep.
I mark it. I'll put that on. Then I'll put the butt grip on, the butt on, the rear grip, the reel seat, the foregrip, and I'll go from there.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll put a rod in a I can't remember what it's the actual name for it is, but then I'll take and I'll bend it.
Yeah.
And put roughly where my guides should be.
Okay.
Tape them on, and after that, I'll just take it and I'll bend it. I'll put the reel on it, bend it to make sure the line is not touching the guide or the blank itself.
Right.
If it does, you have to adjust the guide. Then I take it outside and I cast it, and I check to see if I can hear it or see it slapping on a cast.
Right.
If it does, I have to adjust the guides again.
Okay.
And I get it to where there's no slap, and then I come in, wrap the guides on with the thread.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a color preserver on there so it doesn't fade as quick in the sun.
Right.
Okay. Then I'll put let that dry for a day or two, and then I'll put 1 or 2 coats of epoxy on it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So that's pretty much the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, that took my next question. I was gonna how do you determine the guide spacing and all that? So that was good.
They have some sheet forms.
Right.
Like if you go to Mudhole MHX, they'll say, okay, this blank, this is where the guide should be. Okay. Well, that's okay, but if your reel seat is back or forward, you have to adjust the guides to that.
Yeah.
So it's if you're going to build rods, and you have to do it correctly, you have to measure them out yourself.
Okay.
Okay. The forms that they have on there are guidelines. Let me stress that it's a guideline. Yep. It's not set in stone.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're doing a custom rod, you want a certain reel. I know some guys that's built rods around a certain reel. Like
yes.
I know there's one guy I talked to. He's got one of the new Bates reels, and he wanted the guy to build it around it, and he had it all custom made and formed like you were saying. Make sure there was no slap. I thought that's pretty cool. That's the way to go.
Yeah, and people don't realize how long it takes to do a rod, because like it's a very minimum 3 to 5 days curing time.
Oh wow.
Because you have to do one day is for the butt grip,
yep,
the handle, the reel seat. I mean, another day is to for the color preserver.
Right.
Another day or two for the epoxy after you put the guides on.
Okay.
So when people say, "Can you build me a rod in a week?" I'll say yes, but it's going to be triple the price of what it would normally be.
Right.
Because that puts me under the pressure. Okay. Sometimes guide placement to me can take a couple hours.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When I do it, I want the person to be completely happy with it.
Yep.
I don't want to get it out there and set the hook and have the line go around the rod and hook on another guide,
yep.
And snap.
Or every cast is slap, line slapping the rod. That would be not good.
Spinning rods, you can feel that.
Yeah.
When you're casting, you hear that.
Yep.
Line slapping the blank, and that's usually because the stripper guide is too close or too far away.
Absolutely. But that makes sense, kind of building and depending on what rod reel. I mean, you got high reels, low reels, and round and low profile. I mean, there's so many different kinds. So
exactly. And then you got the Zepco 202s.
They're still around.
Yes, they are.
I
don't think they're going anywhere.
No, 202 and 33s will be around.
404s.
Yeah, 404s. Yeah, 303s. Oh yeah, I fished with them when I was yay big. So yep, they'll be around.
My daughter has one now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she asked me to make her a fishing rod. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's on the back burner.
Oh yeah.
All right, maybe not on the back burner, but the thought's there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you getting ideas, and I
Yeah.
imagine building other people's rods, you kind of get, hey, that's pretty cool. I'll do it on the next one. So,
And for those of you who are colorblind, one of the best things you can do for colors is this is an old military awards poster.
yep, yep,
Okay, if you look at, they all kind of look good. The color schemes.
yeah, contrast, good
Yep.
contrast.
So
Yep,
if you're looking to build a rod and you don't know what colors to put with what, go and look at military awards.
cool, good
This was
idea.
actually my buddies that taught me how to
Oh,
build them. So
oh, cool.
yeah.
But
Anything
of
else?
all the, I guess one last question. Of all the colors, is like do you build more black rods, white rods, gray? What's probably the most popular color of rods that usually or get chosen? I guess people want. I guess.
Yeah. When you say that, are you talking about the blank color or thread?
Yep. The blank color.
Blank color is usually a darker color,
Okay, that's what I thought.
black or charcoal. I made I made some top water rods for a guy years ago, Eddie Ferrano, and I made them out of white blanks,
Oh, cool.
and he wouldn't use them.
What?
The white bothered his eyes.
Oh, heck.
I
He's
guess it
like too
reflected
bright.
off the. I guess the sun reflected in the.
Huh. Well,
So
it'd be cooler. Like it'd be cooler during the day, though. I mean, yeah, you get a little brighter, but it'd be cooler to. Sometimes
yeah,
you've rod sitting out in the sun all day and it's black. It's like, ooh, a little hot.
yeah, it gets a little warm.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, you know, you could get a rod in black. Um, you can have the color changed on it to whatever color you want.
Okay.
My suggestion, if you're going to do that, would go to an automobile dealership and see if their paint crew will do something for them, because not all paints are the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Automobile paint has flexibility and give in it,
Okay.
where a house paint doesn't.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, Enigma had the Aaron Martin's rods, the gray. I still
Yep.
like that gray. That was I still got a couple of them still. So.
Yeah. I've got the fluorescent green.
Yep. I got one of those too.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, that gray was pretty cool, and it stuck out.
Yep.
But those are good rods.
Yep.
And got one quick comment here. Miss Latanya said, "Oh man, I hate I missed it. I will certainly go back and listen." Hey, thanks,
I
Latanya. Here's
appreciate it. And don't if you have any questions, shoot me a message and go from there.
absolutely. And I hope you did well, Miss Latanya. I know you're still celebrating the Eagles' victory. I know that.
Yeah. It's going to
And
be a short. It's going to be a short-lived. It's only a 1-year thing because the Rams are going to take it this year.
Throw down the gauntlet. And
Yep.
Ed says, I always liked the yellow Lamaglass blanks. Yeah, that Lamaglass yellow was spot on,
Yep.
man. It was like Corvette. And there's our buddy Greg tuned in and said, hey guys. Hey Greg, how's it
Hey,
going,
Greg,
buddy?
how you doing, buddy?
Yep. And she says, Latanya says, yes, time to do it again. It's right around the corner.
Nah. Eagles aren't going to be that good next year. They might win the division because they're in a bad division, but the Rams bulked up. They got some threats. They'll get. And my favorite flipping rod I made off of Lamaglass blank.
Oh, cool.
It's one of the 2-piece where you extend the,
telescoping rod. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have guys once in a while at work ask about, are you got any telescoping flip rods? And no, I ain't seen those in years, man. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And Latanya says, shots being fired. Uh-oh.
Hey, we're both talking about animals here, Eagles and Rams, okay? Shots being fired is not safe around those two things.
Yeah. No, not usually.
No. I appreciate Latanya. She's a great woman. High energy.
Oh yeah, I don't know how she gets everything she got going on. I don't know how she keeps it all together. I mean, hats off to her. You,
Yep.
absolutely. But well, John, you're down to 5 minutes, man. I know you got a, handful of sponsors, so talk about some of your sponsors and actually some companies you know very well.
Okay, let's see. Start off with some of the newer ones.
Yep.
First Gen Fishing. Okay. I just got with them this year along with P-Line. Great products. I've used P-Line for years, went away from it, came back to it. Once you find something, I don't know why I went away, because you know what, the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the pastures are not always greener on the other side.
Yep.
So I'm back to the P-Line family. Hooks wise, Hayabusa. You may have heard of them before.
Yep.
Hayabusa hooks, best hooks for drop shotting. The DSRs are incredible. Once you get a fish on, they very rarely come off.
Oh yeah.
Which I really love. Let's see. Clothing. Fisher. Fisher, great company. Angie and Trisha do a great job of customer service, getting them built and getting them to us. I think Trisha would say I'm not the easiest guy to get along with, but I'm very pleased with their service. A lot of companies, if you say you want to have a jersey built, you'll get one revision, and after that you got to pay X amount of dollars per revision.
Yep.
Star Lures.
Absolutely.
A new one this year. Star Lures makes plastics. All right. John Adams out of Tennessee. Anyone else? Wicked Weights.
Absolutely.
Wicked Weights Tungsten. Got some of the best baits around. My favorite bait by far is the Mini Patriot, which is the smallmouth candy for up here, little football head jigs. And I think that's about it. Oh wait, hold on. There is another one.
Yep. There's two more.
Two more. MGM Culture.
Yep, that's one of them.
All right. I mean, the owner is kind of a wacky guy, but the products are exceptional.
Oh, I got you.
Yep. A new one this year, JCX Custom Rods.
Yep, that's what I was thinking about.
I'm actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a line of rods, technique specific, and going to try to go that way and try to grow my business.
Absolutely.
Have fun doing it.
Absolutely. One customer at a time.
Oh, and Co-Angler's Corner.
Yep.
I'm there's a couple guys that have a passion for fishing and like talking fishing, and one of them has common sense and the other doesn't. And we'll let the audience decide who's who.
but they're both old guys, so I will say that.
Yeah, they're both old, and they've never met in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's pretty good. And I got a couple of comments.
All right.
Greg says, where are we talking? And Greg, I'm out of Ohio. All right, Greg. Good to know.
Greg, yep, I'm in New York. Rob's in Kentucky.
Central Kentucky.
Yep.
So I'm not too far from you. I'm right south of Lexington a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Go back and watch the show on fishing rods. We didn't cover techniques or anything like that this time. We just basically talked about custom rods and like that.
All right.
All right, boss
Great
man.
show. Great show, man. Hey, you covered a bunch of stuff, bunch of questions I always had. So, but yeah, y'all want anything about construction or rod, how to made, or go back and review the video. He has a lot of good juice in there, and we appreciate you tuning in, even if you catch the replay. We appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Peace out.